You never forget the moment the universe decides your species is disposable. So before this story truly begins, pause for 1 second. Subscribe, because this is not just a story about aliens and humans. This is the moment humanity learned how loyalty scales and how vengeance travels faster than light. The child is small, too small to survive the ash storm clawing across the ruined city. You see him before the scanners do, a heat flicker, barely above ambient, wedged beneath the collapsed skeleton of what was once a learning dome. His breathing is shallow, his pulse erratic. Human physiology is fragile in ways your species never bothered to catalog. Why would you? Humans were already scheduled for extinction. And yet, your hands move before your rank reminds you to stop. You are Kethral, third-tier logistics officer of the Thrixian Union. Not a warrior, not a diplomat. Certainly not a savior. Your assignment was simple. Confirm biological collapse, tag the planet as cleared, and move on. Earth was supposed to be quiet by now. It isn't. The sky burns with chemical residue from orbital compliance strikes. The oceans are choking. The human defense grid failed weeks ago. Their governments surrendered days after that. The Council declared the species non-viable shortly thereafter. A clean process. Efficient. Merciful by galactic standards. Saving this child is none of those things. Your suit's internal AI whispers warnings in your peripheral vision. Bioform. Human juvenile status. Terminal. Est 94.2%. Intervention. Unauthorized, you mute the alerts. The child's eyes flutter open as you lift him. Brown. Wide. Focused on your faceplate with the dull panic of prey that knows it is dying. He tries to speak. Only a rasp escapes. Your species evolved without vocal empathy. But something in that sound bypasses reason. You seal him inside your auxiliary life capsule. It was designed to preserve samples, not people. You reroute power anyway. Hold, you say, not because he understands, but because you need to hear the word. Above you, Thrixian dropships descend in perfect formation. Around you, a dying world exhales its last heat. And for reasons you will never fully justify to the Council, to history, or even to yourself, you leave. The Thrixian Union does not execute officers for mercy. It does something worse. It forgets them. Your report is altered before it reaches archival memory. The human extinction is marked complete. Earth is listed as a dead world, toxic, unstable, unworthy of further observation. Your deviation is buried beneath procedural noise, and you are reassigned to the outer logistics spiral. That should have been the end of it. The child survives, barely. Human biology adapts in ways your medics find irritating. Broken lungs knit themselves. Radiation-scarred cells regenerate. Trauma responses stabilize faster than predicted. Within cycles, the child is walking, speaking, asking questions. Why is the sky always metal here? He asks one day, staring through the station viewport. It is not metal, you reply. It is alloy? He nods, satisfied. He calls you Kef. You do not correct him. Over time, the child learns the language of the Union. He learns history. He learns what happened to Earth, not through your words, but through silence, through records that end abruptly, through maps that no longer include a blue-green dot where his home once was. He does not cry. That is what unsettles you most. Instead, he studies. Human neural plasticity is excessive. By the time he reaches physical maturity, he has outpaced most junior analysts. By the time he is granted limited network access, He is asking questions the Union has not updated its answers for in centuries. Why was my species marked non-viable? He asks. You give him the official reasons. Population instability, resource inefficiency, political fragmentation, insufficient deterrence capability. He listens carefully. Then he asks the question that changes everything. Did we fight back? You hesitate. Yes, you say finally. Briefly. He smiles, small, sharp, and entirely human. Good. The Union does not notice the data siphoning at first. Why would it? Humans were extinct. The boy is just another alien curiosity raised in controlled conditions. A novelty. A footnote. But humans do not think in straight lines. They think in leverage. By the time the oversight AI flags irregular access patterns, the boy, now a man, has already mapped the Union's historical weaknesses, supply chain redundancies, command inertia, cultural blind spots. Most importantly, he has identified something no species has ever weaponized before: reciprocal obligation. You learn this when he comes to you with a request. I need a ship, he says. No, you answer immediately. I need your ship, he corrects. You refuse again? Stronger this time. Louder. He waits. Human patience, you discover, is terrifying. I was not supposed to survive, he says quietly, but I did. Because you broke protocol. You feel the weight of that choice press against you. You saved one human, he continues. That created a debt. Not from me. He looks at you then, really looks at you. But from my species. There is no species left, you say. He smiles again. There will be. You do not help him steal the ship. You help him optimize it. You rewrite manifests. Adjust fuel tolerances. Mask his departure vector as a debris sweep anomaly. When he leaves Union space, no alarm sound. The Council remains blissfully ignorant. For now, you expect him to vanish into the void. Instead, he returns, years later, with signals, fragments at first, scattered transmissions bouncing through forgotten relays, patterns hidden in noise, human patterns. You listen to the messages in private. They are not calls for help. They are instructions. The humans survived. Not many, not openly, but enough. Enough colonies hidden in radiation shadows. Enough arc fleets that slipped through blockade gaps. Enough stubborn, furious survivors who remembered one thing above all else. An alien saved one of their children, and humans do not forget debts. They multiply them. The first human fleet does not look like a fleet. It looks like scrap, mismatched hulls, overloaded reactors, improvised weapons bolted onto civilian frames. But when it moves with purpose, with coordination, with restraint. That is when the Union finally notices. Sensors detect unknown vessels entering neutral space, human-designed, human-crewed, broadcasting a single repeated message across all known frequencies. Not a threat, not a plea, a promise. We are here to return what was given. The Council laughs, briefly, until logistics hubs begin failing, until patrol routes collapse, until worlds once marked secure go dark without a single shot fired. Humans do not conquer first. They isolate. They cut supply, sow doubt, and force choices. And at the center of it all is one name, yours. You stand in the observation chamber as the human fleet finally enters Thrixian core space. Thousands of ships, not built for dominance, built for rescue. Because the humans did not come to wipe out the Union. They came for something far more unsettling, they came to save. Everyone the Union had decided was disposable. And it all began with one alien, one child, and a debt that crossed the stars. The Thrixian Union does not panic. It calculates. That is what it tells itself as the first human fleet finishes its deceleration burn at the edge of core space. No weapons fire. No aggressive maneuvering. No challenge signals. Just presence. The council chamber fills with shifting colors as senior members convene. Holographic projections bloom. Ship counts, energy signatures, trajectory predictions. The numbers do not make sense. These vessels are inefficient, one counselor clicks dismissively. Their hull geometries are inconsistent. Their power output fluctuates wildly. Another adds, they should not be capable of sustained operations at this scale. You remain silent because you recognize the pattern they do not. Humans never build for perfection. They build for survival, and survival scales. The human fleet spreads out, not toward population centers, not toward military installations, but toward infrastructure. Relay stations, fuel depots, trade nodes, bureaucratic nexuses that keep the Union functioning. They do not destroy them. They occupy them. With precision that borders on intimate knowledge, the council turns to you. Kethrow, the speaker intones, voice resonating through the chamber. You served during the human compliance event. Yes, you reply. Explain this. You choose your words carefully. They are not attacking, you say. They are rearranging. Confusion ripples through the chamber. They are placing themselves, you continue, between the Union and everything it depends on. A junior analyst interrupts, mandibles twitching. But why? They could strike decisively. Our simulations show they are not here to win a war, you say, cutting him off. They are here to change the rules. Across Union space, the same pattern repeats. Human boarding teams arrive without warning. They carry no banners, no threats. They disable security with tools that exploit outdated assumptions, manual overrides, legacy access codes, emergency protocols written centuries ago and never revised. They take control. Then they wait. On the world of Veshtal, a minor Union client species long exploited from mineral output, the humans land openly. No orbital bombardment. No demand for surrender. Instead, they broadcast, "We are human. We are not here to claim your world. We are here to ask a question." The Veshtal Governing Council responds in terror. What question? They demand. The human reply is simple. Did anyone give you a choice? The silence that follows is answer enough. Within cycles, the humans are feeding populations the Union allowed to starve for efficiency. Repairing atmospheric processors long deemed non-essential. Teaching client species how to maintain their own systems, not dependency manuals, but self-sufficiency. This is not rebellion. This is contagion. Hope spreads faster than fear ever did. And the Union has no countermeasure for it. You are summoned again. This time, the Council's confidence has eroded. Trade convoys are delayed. Loyal client worlds are refusing quotas. Entire administrative sectors are paralyzed by uncertainty. They are violating sovereignty, a counselor hisses. They are undermining order, another adds. They are. The speaker pauses, struggling for the word. They are inspiring. You finish quietly. That earns you several cold stares. The speaker leans forward. You will open a channel to the human leadership. Now. The channel opens instantly, as if they were waiting. The human who appears on the hologram is older now. His hair carries silver. His eyes carry something heavier. He looks directly at you. Keth, he says. The chamber erupts. You know this creature? The speaker demands. You do not look away from the human. Yes, you answer. The human smiles, not warmly. We came as promised, he says. We're here to return what was given. The speaker stiffens. Explain your demands. The human tilts his head. We have none. Confusion again. We are not conquerors, he continues. We're auditors. The word echoes uncomfortably. For thousands of years, the human says, your union decided which species were viable, which lives were efficient, which civilizations deserved time. He gestures, and data floods the chamber. Extinct species lists, resource exploitation curves, compliance event casualty projections. Now, he says calmly, we're running the numbers. The speaker recoils. You have no authority. The human nods. Neither did you. Silence. Then the human looks at you again. You saved one of us, he says. That mattered. His gaze shifts back to the council. You erased the rest, he adds. That matters more. The first shots of the war are never fired. They are decisions. Client worlds begin defecting, not to humanity, but to neutrality. They refuse union protection, refuse union oversight. They cite human precedent. Union fleets hesitate to engage, not because they cannot win individual battles, but because every engagement creates more evidence, more recordings, more comparisons between union suppression and human restraint. And humans exploit that. When union patrols fire, humans retreat, broadcasting casualty avoidance maneuvers. When union ships pursue, humans disable engines and tow them to safety. They return captured crews unharmed, with food, with medical care, with questions. Why did you fire? Who ordered you? What were you told about us? The answers fracture morale. You begin receiving private messages from officers across the Union. Confessions, doubts, fear. The Union was built on inevitability. Humans have introduced choice. And inevitability cannot compete with that. The Council votes for escalation. It is unanimous, except for you. Your dissent is recorded and ignored. The Union authorizes a suppression strike on a liberated world, one of the smaller client species that accepted human assistance. The logic is sound, by Union standards. Demonstrate consequence. Restore fear. The fleet launches and vanishes. Not destroyed, diverted. Human forces intercept them en route, not with weapons, but with data. Navigation corruption. Sensor ghosting. Automated safety interlocks that force Union ships into emergency standby. The human fleet surrounds them and waits. Hours pass, then days. Then the Union fleet powers down its weapons. Across the galaxy, that moment is recorded. The myth of Union invincibility shatters. You are alone when the human contacts you privately. We're close, he says. Close to what, you ask? To the part where they have to choose, he replies. Choose what? He leans back, exhaling. Whether they're a government, he says, or a parasite. You close your eyes. You didn't come to save humans, you realize? No, he agrees. We came to save everyone else. And if the Union refuses? The human's expression hardens. Then, he says quietly, we do what humans have always done. What's that? We survive them. The final Union escalation order is prepared. Planetary sterilization protocols. Total war authorization. The old solution. But before it can be transmitted, every screen in the council chamber changes. A single human symbol appears, simple, unadorned. And a message. Before you decide, there's something you should see. Footage plays. Archived, human, the last days of Earth, not the battles. The people, families, children, volunteers staying behind to buy time, scientists transmitting knowledge into the void, a small child being lifted from rubble by alien hands. The footage ends. The human voice returns. You erased us because we were inefficient, he says. Because we didn't fit your model. He looks directly into the chamber. We erased that model. Silence. The speaker's voice cracks for the first time in recorded history. What do you want? The human answers without hesitation. A vote, he says. Not here. Not by you. By every species you ever judged. And if they vote against you? The human smiles, this time genuinely. Then we'll accept it, he says. Because we actually mean it. You feel it then, the shift. The union, for the first time, is no longer the axis around which the galaxy turns. It is one option among many. And humans are standing calmly at the center of that realization. Waiting. The vote does not happen quickly. Civilizations rarely change direction at the speed of war. They move at the speed of fear, memory, and hope, usually in that order. Across the galaxy, species long silenced by the Thrixian Union receive a message translated into thousands of languages, dialects, and sensory equivalents. No threats, no deadlines, only a question. Should the Union continue as it is? The Union tries to intervene. Relays mysteriously remain open. Censorship protocols fail. Override commands loop back to their origin points. Human engineers call it mirror logic. Union analysts call it impossible. You call it inevitable. Client species that once trembled at Union envoys now debate openly. Some fear chaos. Some fear retaliation. Some fear freedom more than chains. Humans do not interfere. They observe. They provide archives. They provide context. They provide proof. And when asked what happens if the Union falls, the human answer is always the same. We don't know. That honesty unsettles everyone. You walk the halls of the council complex alone. Once, this place radiated certainty. Now it hums with unease. Guards avoid eye contact. Administrators whisper in corners. Even the AI oversight cores run more slowly, as if thinking too hard might change the outcome. The speaker summons you one last time. He looks smaller. Kethral, he says, you started this. You do not correct him. We did not authorize extinction lightly, the speaker continues. We maintained order. You maintained silence, you reply. Without us, the galaxy fractures. Without you, you counter. It finally speaks. The speaker studies you for a long moment. Do humans intend to rule? He asks. No, you say. They intend to leave. That answer terrifies him more than invasion ever could. The votes begin returning, one by one. Some species vote yes, the Union should remain, but reformed. Some vote no, the Union should dissolve entirely. Many attach conditions, reparations, autonomy, accountability. The final tally appears across every screen. The Union loses. Not narrowly, decisively. For the first time since its founding, the Thrixian Union no longer has the consent coerced or otherwise of the governed. The speaker's mandibles tremble. This is impossible, he whispers. No, the human leader says, appearing once more on the central projection. This is overdue. The Union's military arm prepares anyway. Old habits die hardest. Automated fleets receive dormant activation codes. Planet cracker arrays begin warming cycles. The ancient failsafes, the ones written for existential threats, come online. You feel the familiar chill of inevitability. Humans notice immediately. They do not scramble ships. They do not issue counter-threats. They transmit authority. Every human-controlled relay broadcasts the same message, embedded with verified vote tallies, legal precedents, and something far more dangerous than weapons: legitimacy. Any force used now will be recorded as defiance against a free vote. Union commanders hesitate. They look at their crews, at the civilians watching, at the galaxy watching. No one wants to be the one remembered as that order. The fleets stand down, and with that, the Union dies not in fire, but in ink. What replaces it is not a human empire. That surprises everyone. Humans do not install governors. They do not draw borders. They do not rename systems. They help establish something fragile and unprecedented: a charter of non-erasure. No species may decide another is unworthy of existence. No civilization may be extinguished for inefficiency. No child may be written off as collateral. It is messy. It is slow. It works only because humans insist on one thing above all else: participation. When asked why, the human leader answers simply: because someone once saved one of our children without permission. Earth is not restored. That myth dies quickly. The humans do not rebuild their homeworld. They memorialize it. A silent blue sphere, stabilized and protected, but never recolonized. This is where we learn the cost of being ignored, the human leader says during the dedication. Species from across the galaxy attend. You stand among them. The human finds you afterward. You did well, he says. I broke protocol, you reply. He smiles softly. We call that parenting. Years pass, then decades. The galaxy does not become peaceful. It becomes accountable. Conflicts still happen. Wars still ignite. But extinction as policy becomes unthinkable. Not because humans threaten retaliation, but because they proved prevention is possible. Young species study human history not as legend, but as warning. This is what happens when you push a stubborn species too far. This is what happens when mercy meets memory. You are old now. Thrixians age differently, but time finds you all the same. You sit aboard a quiet station, overlooking a trade corridor once patrolled by Union warships. Now it's crowded with mixed vessels, clumsy and alive. A human child visits you. She is not afraid. Is it true, she asks, that you saved the first one of us? You consider the question. I saved one, you say. She grins. That's all it took, right? You watch the traffic drift by. Yes, you answer. Yes, it was. Far away, in archives humans insist remain public, the story is recorded not as a war, but as a return. One alien saved a human child. Humans returned with a fleet, not to conquer, not to erase, but to remind the galaxy of something dangerously simple. If you save us when it costs you everything, we will remember you. And if you erase us when it's convenient, we will make sure the universe never forgets.